Hello, ladies. Welcome back. As you guys know, tonight we're going to be doing what we talked about Sunday night is normally what this night entails is Thanksgiving dinner with the kiddos. That is something that Kat and Spirit prepared together for us every year. They come in and do that. Since Kat is out with health stuff right now, Rachel has graciously decided to step in. So she said that she's going to see where Spirit leads her, and that's what we will do. But how many of you, I want to see how many of you have done guided connections with your kids. I know a lot of you had guided connections with your kids or your people in Spirit. Darlene, I'm going to say people because I know your hubs is there too. So how many of you have done it before? Okay, so we have a couple that haven't. So what Rachel's going to do is she's going to go through a quick explanation of what we're doing. And remember the biggest thing when we do these, guys, when you're doing any kind of guided connection, your ego's going to want to tell you it's your imagination, and I'm sure Rachel will go over this because it's something that she goes over. You're setting the scene for the rendezvous, basically. So I'm going to hand it over to Rachel. Rachel, thank you for being with us. I so appreciate the last minute you stepping in, because I know everybody looks forward to this and it's one of the highlights of the program. So I'm going to hand it over to you, dear.
Oh, thanks, Nikki. It's been wonderful actually to feel your kids kind of join me and come around me the past couple hours, like leading up to this. I like, Nikki, that you said we're setting the scene for the rendezvous, and that's exactly like what I'll talk about just a little bit. So I work as an evidential medium doing readings every day, but I also lead guided connections, and probably started leading my first guided connections in intuitive groups that I led starting about 6 years ago. And I'll also in Connect for Yourself workshops that I offer, and sometimes just isolated guided connections like this. So just to let you know, based on my experience and my experience as a bereaved mom, I've been on both sides of the coin. So the first guided connection I ever did, I was in a parent support group, and I was being led by another facilitator with other parents there to connect with my son, because I was already working as a medium the first time I did this. And I'll tell you that when he started saying things like, here's the sidewalk, here's the tree, they're standing here, and all of this, I started thinking, this is just my imagination, right? So I understand if you feel that way, because I'm very logical. I know how my mind works. I know that Spirit when, for example, when I like tell clients what to expect in a reading, like every day I'll say, like, it's just like my own thought process. So for example, if I were to think about something I did yesterday and I were to imagine the memories, the scenes, how people looked, how people's voices sounded, how I felt, that's how I sense information from your loved ones. And so very similar to my own connection as well. And with my own connection, it's even trickier because the images, the scenes, the memories are familiar to me too. So it's very natural to think that it's your memory, and it's okay to be skeptical, because when we're skeptical, it causes us to really examine and pay attention to where our own thoughts end and theirs begin, right? And so that's where the validation comes in, is where you set the scene, I guide you through setting the scene, and it's the stuff they add. And so when I was leading groups, Spirit started telling me, tell them it's like they're creating a canvas. So don't be afraid to do visualization. Don't be afraid to trust that it's them, because what will happen is, or use your imagination, like visualize yourself, even on your own, outside of here, you guys, you can put on some music, do a little breath work, and maybe draw a picture or imagine a scene with them yourself. And it's the random, unexpected things that they add to it that will be your validation, right? And I don't want you to be thinking about this during it. I just want you to enjoy the experience and trust when you're in it. And then afterwards, reflecting back, maybe journal, take notes, and you'll see those little sprinkles they gave you, right? And having that said, the way I lead is very loose. So what I mean is, I don't really set the scene like with too much details, because I want your kids and your loved ones to have room to add stuff, right? If I sit here and tell you, here's the table, here's the turkey, here's the relish, here's the candles, here's all of this, well, your mind, whether you realize it or not, consciously or not, is going to be busy creating those images in your mind that I'm giving you. So I don't want to project so much that your loved ones like don't have space to come in there, and you connect and you really spend time and have space to discern how it feels and what's going on. Does that make sense, you guys? So yeah, having that said, the way I lead guided connections is very different. Rita may be the only, I don't know if, I apologize if others of you have been in my Connect for Yourself workshops or classes more than once. If you've been in more than one of my things, you know I never do it the same way twice. And here's why. I go into this like I go into a group reading. My guys, when I do this, are your loved ones, your angels, and your spirit guides. Okay. So just like I do in a group reading, they're the ones that lead me from the time I start the meditation on. So the only thing I do the same every time is the breath work. And that's what you can always use to connect with your own kids, is starting with your breath work and just getting centered. That I do every time. But everything from that point on, everything I say is something that I've been led to say. Okay. So if you're going in this and you're like, this is a really weird, trippy guided connection, like I add like little quirky details, it's because your kids are giving me those details that will most likely connect with one or more of you. Okay. Now, on the other hand, if not something doesn't connect, still, again, pay attention to those random things that you get, right? That are like, oh, that's that, and that you weren't thinking of. So let's say all of a sudden, you know, your child comes in a white hoodie and they lay their keys on the table. You know, that's not, if that wasn't something that you've been thinking of, that wasn't something that was like, oh, that's not like every Thanksgiving dinner he does this or she does this, right? So there's something about those keys, or there's something. So, and I don't say that, it's like that's your own personal validation, right? It's the things that you haven't been thinking of. It's the things that are quirky or random that they put in there, unexpected. You know, stay open to somebody else, you know, like grandma coming too, right? Sometimes, and when I'm leading classes, I tell people it's actually much easier to connect with your distant relatives because there's not as much unfinished business there. There's not as much as like a strong need or want to control to have this person come through. And so it's often actually easier for them to come through. So I might say loved ones because that's how I'm used to leading it, but also too, to keep you open to who else may be around. You know, you may have like a cousin Jack who you haven't seen in forever and you weren't even thinking of him, and all of a sudden he's there, right? So it's just validation to you that truly you're surrounded by all your loved ones in spirit, that anyone who's open, and you being open, they're able to come in and give you that validation that you can have the psychic, spiritual, intuitive experience with them yourself. Yeah. Without having a medium. And that's what I love about this, to empower you. And I think that's all I was going to say about that, Nikki. That's so good. So I know that you guys are, Nikki, as she said, this is the highlight of the group. So I try not to get intimidated, just knowing spirit's in control, because I know that Kat has led. I've never attended one, so, which is kind of good. So I don't have in my head like what to say or what to do. So spirit's just going to lead me. So I hope that it's good in a different way and won't replace your other experiences, or that this, how special it is where you do this with Kat, and hopefully it'll still be, you know, an experience that you treasure. Yeah.
It will. Kat's this, I mean, the same as you. It never looks the same way. I mean,
Perfect.
even when she does it, you know, she says the same thing. You know, I can only do so much and spirit guides it. And so
Exactly.
you know,
And I
I
love
have
that.
no
Spirit will
doubt
take over.
it'll live up to,
Yeah.
it'll be exactly what it's supposed
Yeah.
to be.
Yeah.
And this is just one of the highlights. We have many, many, many highlights. So
Yeah.
don't be
Oh, yeah.
intimidated.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. So one thing I want to add, you guys, is that whole like returning to your breath. So what I lead you to in the beginning, because I don't want to like interrupt the experience when we're in it, when you're in the connection. Anytime you get stuck in the experience, anytime you're having this and your mind starts questioning, what is this? Or I don't understand, or is this my imagination? Anytime you feel the energy, and when I say energy, I mean like what you may be seeing, hearing, or feeling, anytime you feel it slow down or just stop, go back to your breath. And that does take practice, and spirit will meet you where you are. But that's like the number one thing that will keep you in the connection, is go back to your breath. Because literally when you return to your breath, and I'm talking about literally paying attention to your belly filling up with air, your chest rising, deep breath on your inhale, that takes you from your head to your center, to your heart, that will like open up the connection. People think it all happens here because we might see images or hear something, but it doesn't. It happens from our center. And you think of like your soul connection, think of the center, like literally your breath. And so returning there will open everything back up. I promise. Okay. So anytime you feel stuck in there, or the energy is stuck or not moving. So just do that. You won't, it takes practice. It's kind of like learning to ride a bicycle or something, but take that with you when you leave here too, that will, your breath will always bring you back to the connection when you feel like you're losing it. Now, you may not see your loved one. You may not even see their face. You might see you might see their hands doing something. You might see objects that they have around them. You might see the food that they like to bring. Okay. You may not see them at all, but you may hear them. You may hear a word or a short phrase. And sometimes, you guys, we describe this as hearing, but our psychic senses don't really translate into our physical senses. So a lot of times what we describe as hearing is actually maybe feeling their voice and knowing what they're saying, right? So seeing, you're feeling, and that's where we turn to our breath. That's why like our breath will open up the clairvoyance, because it's not truly like seeing with our eyes. It's not really up here. That's where like our heads get in the way actually. But like, so you may like feel like you're seeing them, and sometimes those are things that are hard to articulate. And that's how it's a connection, because you can't really put it into words. And every time you do connect, it's going to be a little bit different, right? And so, and you may not see them, you may not hear them, you may feel them, you might feel their hug, you might feel their warmth. Maybe you only see what I'm saying, and that's okay. Yeah. A lot of times what will happen is people will say, Rachel, you said this just after I saw this. I described something specific or quirky or unique, and they'll say, I just saw that before you said that. And that's your validation. Yeah. But if you don't see that, that's okay too. Yeah. Or if it somehow connects in another way or more loosely, that's okay too. Okay. Now I'm getting like too excited. I know they're eager to get going, so I'm going to get going, you guys. I got to calm down a little bit. So go ahead. Nikki, I like to have people turn their video off, because they're leading classes. I have learned, even when we're comfortable, like, we all know we have our eyes closed. The energy flow is just a little bit better when we all turn our video off. I will leave mine on. I'll have my eyes closed, but it does flow better. And obviously, I'm sure you guys, you've been working with Nikki, like not to have your phones on. If you're trying to check your phone, you're not fully present and you're not going to have the same experience. Close any doors, anything like that, you need to make sure that you're not going to be interrupted. That kind of thing. Yeah. Just like Nikki kicked her family out of the room. So if you need to go ahead. Okay. So we're going to start just by closing our eyes and just bringing our awareness to our breath. So literally your inhale, paying attention to your chest rising, and then exhale, letting it go. Go at your own pace here, and stay in a position that you're comfortable in. It doesn't have to be a perfect or idealized meditation posture, however you're comfortable is the position you're supposed to be in. Same with your breath. It may be faster than mine. It may be slower. That's okay. You'll find naturally, just by bringing your awareness to your belly filling up with air, your chest rising, that your breath will naturally slow down. Exhaling through an open mouth or your nose, doesn't matter. Your breath work, staying with breath work long enough, your thoughts will naturally begin to dissipate. So it's nothing you have to work at getting rid of them or putting them away. And just focus on your breath. Now I want you to bring your awareness to your feet, to the ground beneath you, the earth below you. I want you to imagine, visualize, or feel energy coming in up through the earth, through your feet, your legs, your spine, your upper body, and up through the crown of your head. And exhale, it all back down. And give your spine or your chakras here, doesn't matter. And go at your own pace, doing that a couple more times. Long inhale. Okay. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, all of our collective loved ones in spirit, angels, spirit helpers, those who are unseen and will remain unseen, those who will make their presence known. We thank you for always being present in our lives and for being here, encircling us, standing around us this evening with your love and your guidance. Thank you for always protecting us. We know that anyone who comes through, any impressions we receive are for our highest good and healing. We know that anyone who is here supporting us is someone whose soul is at peace and who is from the highest realm of God's love and light. Thank you for protecting us every day, as well as here tonight. We know that spirit never wastes a thought. We know that spirit's always right, even if we do not understand what it is. Thank you for helping us to remember and build upon this communication later down the road as we leave here today, and connecting dots that do not make sense today. Thank you for always surrounding us with your love, support, and guidance. And so it is. So I want you to take a couple of breaths, but breathe into the space. I want you to maybe you visualize, imagine, or feel yourself in front of you in the space where you exist outside of your body. So we're going to invite in divine light as we prepare to make those intimate connections in a way that we're able to discern the presence of our children and other loved ones who are surrounding us today. So we're just going to begin by bringing our awareness up to the space above our head. I want you to imagine, visualize, or feel bright white light. Maybe you see yellow, or maybe you just feel a warmth, or maybe you see gold, silver. Let that be spirit giving you your own personal communication, which is always good, and nothing wrong with having experiences outside of anything that I might say here today. So we breathe in this light, letting it descend upon our crown, maybe like a gentle shower of warmth, of love as it descends upon us. And going at your own pace here, just allow this to descend upon you, your neck, your shoulders. Taking your time to really breathe it in, your front, your back, all the way down your body. We're expanding our awareness into this space that we exist outside of our body as spirit draws near to us. All the way down. On our legs, again, our front, our back, all the way down to our feet. And then inhale this spiritual light, this divine presence that you exist in front of you, up your body, in front of you. Breathe into this, breathe the light in front of you, feel this in front of you. And just take a couple of inhales and exhales into this space in front of you. Maybe you feel or see sparkly lights, or again, just of warmth or a shift in the energy in front of you. And now behind you. To your right. To your left. Above you. And below you. Completely enveloped by spirit energy. And in this space where we meet our loved ones. Knowing they're already here with us, I want you to go ahead and invite your child or children into your space. And first, we're just going to focus on feeling their presence with us in this space that we've created. Maybe you feel his head on your shoulder. Maybe you see her in front of you and her beautiful eyes. I want you to bring your focus to your heart space. From your heart space, I want you to send out loving thoughts to your child or children or loved ones as an invitation, just expressing whatever it is, your own personal, intimate conversation that you want to have with them. As you're here face to face, or maybe in their embrace, they're in your embrace. Letting them know how thankful you are to be spending the holidays with them in a new way. Now I want you to, as they step back, notice the room, the space around them, and maybe to the side is the table. Maybe your table is long, rectangular, maybe it's like barnwood or a rustic table. It's whatever it is that you see, that's your table, that's the space that spirit, your loved ones have created for you to enjoy this time together, this time of Thanksgiving. Maybe you see it in front of you or to the side. Doesn't matter, allow it to be what it is. If it doesn't look like the perfect or ideal or Martha Stewart Thanksgiving table, that's okay. And notice the candles lit. Notice if there are candles lit and the warmth of the glow. And before they sit down to the table, they want to show you who they bring with them, who's with them. And I just want you to take a minute here and breathe into this space, seeing, hearing, or just feeling the presence of other loved ones, or maybe your child or children showing you, telling you, or making you feel who is joining them and you tonight. As they pull out a chair, you pull out yours and you sit down together and you look down the table and what do you see? Like, what is the food? What is the spread? Really soak it all in and bask in all the details. You know, is it your grandmother's old china that's on the table? Your yeast rolls, turkey, and what's on your child's plate. Maybe it's piled high with stuffing and gravy. Maybe it's just all about the rolls. It's all good. It's all okay. And you look across the table at your child and really just soak in this moment. Maybe looking into their eyes, speaking without needing words, without opening our mouths. You feel, hear, just know what it is that they're saying to you. Maybe they want to toast you for being their mom, being their grandma, their aunt, their friend, partner, whatever the relationship may be. And you notice what's in their glass. Maybe it's wine, maybe it's red Kool-Aid, maybe it's Mountain Dew. I want you to ask them to share a memory with you of what they're grateful for. And take a couple of breaths into this. Just breathe around this thought, this question to them, asking them to show you, to impress upon you in the way that they can, in the way that you can best understand. And if you want to, as they're sharing this memory with you, of what they're grateful for, feel free to write down if you want to use journaling or notepad as a tool. Stay in the connection to receive more, to go into it more. It might be a way that you are able to do so. Maybe it's not necessarily a celebratory moment. Maybe it's a time that you helped them through a challenge, a struggle in their life that you helped them through that they're most grateful for. It's often the struggles that they overcome and the people who help them through, mom, dad, brother, sister, that they may be most grateful for. And it's okay if emotions come up that you weren't expecting. It's cleansing, it's healing. And releasing those emotions will clear your energetic space. So that moving forward, you're better able to sense their presence. But in the moment, if it's the emotions that you're feeling, is okay. Now, as we come back to focusing on being at the table together, what tradition do they want to show you that they still join you in, that they remember, that they treasure, that they carry with them? And just look around the room, or maybe you take your vision beyond the room, where we go outside and sit out and enjoy fresh air together on a deck or a patio. Maybe some want to play football or watch the football. Maybe it's drawing names or Christmas gift exchanges. Maybe it's just the awareness of the last Christmas or the last Thanksgiving that we had together was extra special. Maybe it was a time of reunion and healing while we were here, that you're feeling that gratitude from them, that we had such a special Thanksgiving time together. And just breathe into this space again, using your breath to recenter. If you feel like the connection or communication is slowing down or you're getting stuck, just return to your breath. Now we want to chat around the table about what they're doing now. They want to share with you what they're doing now, who they're with. And as they do so, you look and see how long the table is, and you see that all the kids from all the parents are here together tonight, and that they're all connected. As we hold hands around the table, I want you to physically hold your hands up and your palms up and just really feel the warmth and the love from your child, from those next to you, as we all hold hands together with our children in spirit. And you look down and see the friends that they've made. And pay attention to the details. Maybe your son that's met the girl with the red hair, the brunette, and like, what is not your child, but the other child? What are they wearing? What do they bring with them? Maybe you notice the jewelry the girls are wearing. Are their nails polished? I want you to really pay attention to any messages or any impressions from the other children who are connected to your child or children. Anything they want to share with you, or anything that you observe just from being across or down the table from them. Now I want you to look across the table at your kids and the others across the table. And notice who's standing behind them. Relatives, loved ones who come with them here today in support of you, connected through your love for you and your child, the loved ones that they will be spending Thanksgiving in spirit with alongside you here and the family here. And what are they doing? What are they saying? What are they wearing? Maybe you see grandma with her hand on your son's shoulder, warm, loving, proud. Maybe you see a little white dog that wants to eat at the table too. Maybe the dark-haired little boy from his or her childhood that they've reconnected with. And do your loved ones standing around have any messages for you? Maybe dad or grandpa wants to send you his love as well. So just take a moment and from your heart space, I want you to invite them to give you any messages they have for you personally and to send your loving thoughts to them. Okay. I want you to take a moment and reconnect with your breath. Take a couple of inhales. And then I want you to smell around, smell the aromas that are present here. Maybe warm, familiar ones, maybe unexpected aromas. And then taste, allow yourself to taste, bring your awareness to your mouth, your taste. What is it that you taste in your mouth? The textures, the flavor of the food here. Maybe it's not your dish, but a dish that somebody else here brought. And that's the unexpectedness, but also the validation that we'll share with each other afterward. Same with, again, glancing around the room and seeing each other's children. Another time. Before we leave, knowing we're never really leaving, we're just coming back to our earthly awareness, I want you to hold your hands out and ask your child or children or maybe other loved ones for a gift, a Christmas gift, something festive, something to celebrate the holiday season with that they want to give you. Is it something, hold your hands out, and is it something that fits in your hands even, or is it larger? Is it something of theirs? Is it something new that you just got or they're going to lead you to? Maybe it's green and sparkly. Maybe it's small and round. Maybe it's rubbery. Maybe it's not something someone else would even associate with Christmas or the holidays, but it's unique to them and to you. Maybe it's a Christmas ornament that he or she will lead you to, or that you will receive. They already know about it. Maybe it's a gift for someone else that they want you to give on their behalf. Maybe it's the chunky new baby in the family with the dimples, a gift for them. Reindeer antlers for the dog. That it wouldn't be complete without music. What music do you suddenly hear? Maybe you have to tune into it. Maybe it's faint and playing in the background. Maybe it's a song for someone else here. That would be validation for them. And at the end of the night, what do you want to watch or play? What games do you want to play? What shows do you want to watch? What Christmas movies? And just breathe into that thought and allow your child or children to bring out the games and what are they and what movies are they playing? Paying attention to everything going on. And as we're aware that we never really say goodbye, we say goodnight. And thank them for the day, the evening, the time that you got to spend with them. Thank them for always being present. And when we're more in our earthly awareness, we still know that they're always in the background of our lives, always encircling us with their love. And we thank them for reminding us that this is a place that we can come back to or create a new place, a new space, a new memory with them whenever we want. Whether it's together or alone, it doesn't matter. Okay, as you reach up to kiss him on his cheek or embrace or bend down to pick her up, want to really bask in what's not a last embrace, just an embrace until we experience it again, until you experience it again, which could be tonight, when you go to bed, tomorrow, anytime. And take your time coming back together. Maybe you want to go ahead and write details down, impressions down, just like in a dream, we can forget. So if you want to journal, write down your experience, or at least enough of it to jog your memory later, feel free to do so, and then just come back and you can just turn your video back on when you're ready.
Recording in progress.
Yes, I was getting so many impressions with this group that I had to kind of stop and just write them down to share later because I didn't want to be projecting. I didn't want to be talking the whole time. I felt like I was talking so much with impressions that I was getting. And I hope that you had enough space in there to really savor and enjoy the experience yourself. Let it be what it was for you. Yeah, it was just truly what they were giving me. And I was like, whoa. And I'll share, there were a couple of things. Like I said, I slowed down towards the end because I was getting so much. Somebody was saying like, I'll be back on the 17th. And I didn't know what that meant. That was like, came in randomly. So I don't know if that was like a family birthday or a celebration on the 17th. So also getting, the Christmas movie, they were like, elf. That was like Christmas movie. Was that leave, Nikki? And then for the games, I was just seeing a red box, but I couldn't identify what game it was. So that's why I said games. Music, I felt like you guys might be validating for each other. I felt very strongly about you hearing songs that maybe wasn't your child's, but somebody else's. And same, you guys, when they had me directed me to look around the table and pay attention to other people's children, because sometimes it's like you guys are mediums for each other. You know, you get those validations for each other. And like I saw a boy near me, and then like him looking down at another young lady. They both look like teenagers or young adults. She had, I think, dark hair, but it had like auburn or burgundy highlights. And I felt like it was side parted a little bit like mine, but her hair was straight. And there was something pink, like she had some pink clothing on. But like that's what I was getting. In other words, it was like, you know, pay attention when you're doing these, and that to other details, because it's a connection for you, yes, but where you're all parents here and connected, they're connecting through you. And sometimes it's easier to receive those validations because, you know, like Nikki, you know what Leaf would wear. So if he shows up in something common for him, that's not a validation for you. But if you see, you know, somebody's daughter with her bright pink hoodie on, and that's a validation for somebody else. So you guys serve each other that way.
He will usually come in his OU hoodie. He got tricky this time and morphed into his dad's Mason suit, which I never think of. He was cremated in that, and I actually heard him say, "See, Mom, it didn't burn." And I was like, okay, we're gonna do cremation humor. So yeah, but I got lots and lots of kids, a lot I knew, a lot I didn't know. So
yeah, and validations you want to share, or things that you saw,
yeah,
Nikki, or felt or heard?
I can share. Because so it works a little bit different for me before we even got through breath.
It works different for everybody. Yeah.
Yeah. So before you started to set the scene, I was already in. Eyes wide open, my eyes weren't even shut, and I just gloss over and I get the movie
Yeah.
reel playing.
Yeah.
So and I actually was typing it on my phone to Kathy as I'm doing this, because immediately it was Sophie was in the kitchen of a log cabin with Leaf, and I've been to this log cabin with Leaf before in guided meditation. He tells me that this is one of his spots, and they were preparing a lot of the food. There were older men in the living room that I could see. One was actually, I recognized him as Michael, Kathy's husband, and some other older men, and they were flipping through the boob tube looking for they didn't want to watch football. I could see other kids outside of the window in the field meadow playing, like tossing a football around. At one point, and I do know that Rodney was in with the older men, Debbie. I saw Rodney in the living room with the older men. I did see Zeke come in at one point, and actually I saw Caroline's spirit there, and Leaf barked at him because they were throwing rolls at each other, and he told them to leave the damn rolls alone. They're trying to get the meal prepped.
So that's where the rolls came in. There was something funny with the rolls, but I didn't know what.
Okay. Then Turk did come through the front door. He and Zeke seem to be they're pretty big pals, it seems. I saw a table of littles. I don't know, I didn't get scoped in on their faces. Some of the kids I know better because I know their moms better, and I've come to know like their energy. And so those seem to be the ones I can recognize their faces. Not that I've seen pictures of them a lot because I don't remember their pictures, but I recognize them. And it was kind of strange because this time Sophie and Leaf were very flirty with each other. Like usually when they come in together with me, they're like best buddies. And this time there seemed to be a little bit more than that going on. So they kept saying Elliot name, and it's so a lot. I mean, there was just a lot of different stuff. I was able, well, because Kathy Elliott, I mean, Kathy's last name is Elliott, but we're not related.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that.
My husband's mom, my mother-in-law, her maiden name is Elliott.
Okay, so there's something with the Elliott name. I did see Bernice Patrick come in. He was helping Leaf wrap bacon around stuffed jalapenos. So, yeah, and I was able to get a hug from Leaf, and he's about the only person that if you guys know me, that I let hug me. And then Sophie started laughing, said, "Give my mom a hug for me." And then they all made fun of me because I'm not a hugger. And Leaf said, "Get better at that, Mom." And I said, "Dude, I'm working on it." So at the very end, because I ended quite a bit, this came in very quick, so I ended and popped back out fairly quick. So and I was typing it all as it just flooded out, and I said, "I really don't want to go. I don't want to pop back over." And he said, "You're not going, Mom. None of us ever go. I love you."
Oh, I love that. Love that.
And then I was back here.
I love that. Thanks for sharing, Nikki. And you guys, I can tell you through working with a lot of groups, like Nikki's, like she's the leader of the group and intuitive herself. And so that makes sense. That's not a typical experience, but what is typical is all the things that happen that I didn't guide you through. So every time I lead a group, it's like, there's those little things I say, but people have their own personal experiences that are their own thing, right? That I didn't even like touch upon, but there might be elements of something that I said in it. Does that make sense? So it is very common to have your own personal experience and get your own personal validation from your loved ones. Again, don't be like, well, what? I didn't have all that, because that's not typical Nikki's experience, but it is typical.
Well, and I've been doing it a long time. I mean, and
you're connected.
When I first started, I was lucky if I got 2 seconds of being able to be in long enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And Nikki's already got the evidential. I mean, she may not even need the evidential validations because she believes, right? But I don't know, the pink sweater or sweatshirt, maybe that's Sophie if it's nobody's daughter who's here, but there's the pink sweatshirt kept coming in.
I want to write those down,
Yeah.
Rachel.
And then the
That
white
way I
hoodie,
can
the
post
guy
them.
with the white hoodie. And then other than that, I just saw a young man with like a gray kind of nondescript t-shirt, but that's all the clothing I saw. But when
White
I got,
hoodie.
who is that? The white, oh, but when I
I don't
did
know.
the Christmas, the gift, somebody gave me like a green sparkly ornament or Christmas decoration. So that was really cool. And then again, I stopped saying things because it was coming, I was saying too much, I felt like. So, but yeah, turn the music. I felt like there was the thing, little white dog. I don't know whose dog. Also, before I sat down today, I got, I'm here from a Wesley or Weston was the name. So W name, a guy, but I didn't know who it was because I literally was just like putting my clothes on and got that.
By the way, you're back with us on the 17th. So whoever
Oh,
said they were
shut
coming
up.
back, no, you're with us. You're doing the group reading on December 17th. So whoever that was, whichever one
I
of
know,
y'all
it's somebody
kids that
married.
was,
I
they
will say
will be back.
collectively. Sometimes I will see my son symbolically to represent the group or whatever. And it was like, oh, but it was like, I knew it was like, yeah, I'll be back on the 17th. And it was like this, they were like, oh, but I feel like everybody was partying. So there we go. There's our validation that they're going to show up big time. I almost felt like they were almost trying to do a group reading tonight. But then, but yeah, the elf and when we did the smelling, I smelled sage, and then there was some humor around like something having too much sage in it. That was unusual for me because I do love sage, like in stuffing and that. So it could be somebody burning too much sage. I don't know. But
This
also,
group, we're all burning sage, girl. We're all burning.
are you guys
sage.
burning sage? Nikki, have you burning sage?
A lot
Robin
of
says
them
no,
do.
not me. And then somebody was joking about they didn't want like the instant mashed potatoes or the liquidy mashed potatoes or something like that. So that was all good. It was kind of interesting for me because when I first saw the table, I actually saw it to the side. And it was like, and I almost felt like there was a guy at the end who wanted to sit at the end of the table, a young man, and he kept wanting to get up and go somewhere else. That's why I said, your table may not be in front of you, maybe to the side. I'm like, what the heck? I have no idea. But anyway, I did, and I actually got it. I did get a vision of the kind of barnwood or gray wash table, like a long table, kind of rustic looking, and some pretty, like just a few candles lit before I even sat down, and that came back as well. But do you guys want to share? Because I find sometimes it's in the sharing that people validate for each other, or just uplift each other through their own experiences. So I want to give you a chance to share if you guys have time, Nikki.
Yeah, we do. Don't be shy, guys.
Yeah.
Anybody?
Well, the Wesley was probably Patrick again, because well, Patrick's middle name was Wesley, and
Okay.
remember we had that connection. Well, I don't know if you would remember, but we had that connection before, and
He
it's
used his middle
also
name.
my dad's name and my brother's middle name, who's also
okay.
so, yeah.
He was here with bells on. I felt like early
Yes.
on. All of them.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. No doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for sharing that, Rita.
Mm-hmm.
Robin.
What were you saying about a little white dog? You said no one tuned in on the little white dog.
Yeah, there was a little white dog that was up on the table, like somebody's kid was letting them eat with them, like on the table. Like a little white dog. It looked like a cute little foo-foo dog. I wasn't sure if it was like a Shih Tzu or what, but it was like a little white dog. It was just really cute. Yeah.
Okay.
We had to bring him to the table.
Okay.
Do you have a dog that's passed, Robin?
We actually just had to put one of the kids' dogs down like probably 6 weeks ago. And my daughter, she was the most recent to pass, and she passed in May. And that was Maiden was more her dog. And she was like a cockapoo, like a mix.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are little foo-foo dogs. Yeah.
Yeah.
So hopefully that you take that as validation that she was here and had her with her at the table. It felt like the dog really liked eating at the table too. Or being held at the table, which was really sweet. Yeah. Aw, thanks for sharing that. I don't know who the things are for. So when I'm doing a meditation like this, the evidential validations, I can only multitask so much. So my energy is being used to actually speak and guide and prompt to you guys. So I'm not going to get the extended things like I want in a group reading, like exactly who it is or who the parents are, that type of thing, but just enough to hopefully give you your own experience and give you a little validation as well. Yeah. But that's beautiful, Robin. Thank you. I actually saw a little white dog just
no, thank
randomly
you.
earlier today, and it felt like the same dog. It just kind of popped in. So they were ready, just like Wes
Oh,
Patrick
really?
was ready. Yeah. Yeah.
Anybody
And you
else want
know,
to share?
if you're sitting here like all I got was a turkey, Rachel, that's okay.
Yeah, that's okay too. This is, and I will tell you guys, like when I first started doing that, I don't meditate on my own, number one, because my monkey brain is out of control.
Yeah.
But when I do, which I don't very often now, but I prefer guided meditations, guided visualizations. If you didn't get in and you don't feel like you got a lot of stuff, don't fret. It took me a good lot of practice, even with guided meditation and somebody else leading me to it. For me, it really had to coincide with the other healing work I was doing. It wasn't like, oh, I did a guided meditation and it was so amazing. Like that
Yeah,
didn't
and
happen
another-
at first.
Yeah, and one thing too, what I've experienced a lot with groups is sometimes, you know, they'll prompt me to bring up like a memory or to have this communication with them. And what it brings up within you is maybe sorrow, and you find yourself wanting to cry. Go with that. They know that. In that same moment, you may not get your validations from them, or you may not see them as strongly, but it all happens for a reason. So I really felt when they talked about the memory, like ask them to what they're thankful for, instead of like a celebration, I actually first felt a heaviness. And so that told me that somebody was probably, and that's like where the whole prompted me to talk about the struggle, you know. And sometimes it's like they want to thank you for something that you helped them overcome, that you're carrying guilt about, going, as their mom, I wish I could have helped them more. Yeah. So sometimes like these meditation aren't always like big, expansive, like Nick, you're like, you guys had that experience, Christine.
Yeah.
And
So
you guys, yeah. Do you want to share?
yeah. So when you ask for a memory, I got that the feeling of Alex talking about actually how there has been Thanksgivings in the past that he has not been able to be home. And then you went on you made that comment about like being grateful, of being supportive, and it made sense to me, what you were like, what I was feeling, with the memory, because it was kind of that moment of, it wasn't really a happy memory, but that was what popped into my mind, was the fact that he had to have missed a couple of Thanksgivings with us because he was struggling and he wasn't able to be home. And then you made that comment of, being grateful for us supporting. And I got this like feeling of almost, I wanted to cry.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
And that's
yeah.
okay. Yeah. And
Yeah.
that, you know, you guys, that's the most profound connection. And that's something, and so many people tend to go, well, I didn't get anything, and these feelings came up. And it's like, actually, that might be the most healing or profound connection you can have. And you're not in that those emotions are what you're supposed to feel in that moment there. That was, you know, there's nothing more intimate or healing than that, than them saying, you know, you're seeing it this way, but I'm seeing it this way. And now you
Yeah.
can release this, Mom.
Yeah,
Right?
because at first my feeling was, well, that's not a very happy memory, Alex.
Yeah.
And then you went to say, something along the lines of being grateful for the support, that was given, that you gave me, and it made sense to me what you said. It connected.
Oh, I'm so glad. That
So
was
yeah,
1000% from Alex, and anyone
Yeah.
else who needed that message too. Yeah. And that's
Yeah.
an example of how it is unexpected to me, but it comes up, and it's happened in different ways before, but just like the words coming from them. And it's a good example of, you guys, how not only is like healing not just about connection with our kids, but connection isn't just about like the happy and the big validations, that it is about those deeper things if we're ready for it, you know. And they know that, and they get that sometimes at a level higher than we do, you know. I think Nikki would call it shadow work, but how healing is that to get that communication directly from your child, you know, and you have that experience of them being so grateful for how much you helped him overcome, and that last, and I got that too, that almost like I was in that scene as a young man, like but this was special that we got to have this last Thanksgiving together, you know, despite other ones. And this is what I carry with me, you know, and help you shift, because you're probably thinking more about the struggles and that this time of the year, and him wanting you to help you truly release that. And there's no more powerful way to release than getting that communication from spirit, from your kids. Yeah. Okay. Anybody else want to share?
If I can, I want to share something that you guys will understand it more than anybody in my life will understand. My oldest son passed 2 years ago, August, and I have not had a dream with him in it. And it's just been killing me, like slowly. Just last night, I had my very first dream about him, and I like woke up and was writing everything down frantically. And I was just so excited. It was the weirdest dream, made absolutely no sense, but it was him and he was in it. And I just wanted to share that because no one will understand that emotion, that feeling more than you guys.
That's beautiful, Robin. When you started saying that, I was hearing, wait, and I was going to tell you, wait for it, it's coming. And then you said he came last night, and I was like, oh, he's saying, wait for it. She's going to tell you.
Oh, how awesome. Awesome.
So it already came. He's good. Yeah. I love that. Yeah.
Did anybody else have an experience? Did you get visualizations? Rhonda, go for it, girl. You want me to?
Nothing.
Well, Brenda,
There you go.
right,
Yeah,
Brenda, right now you're down in it, so that doesn't surprise me, but that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah. Rhonda?
oh yeah.
Go ahead,
Hi.
Rhonda.
I'm sorry. Yeah, so when you were talking about memories, I forgot about this memory that that she popped into my head. I made cream spinach like a couple of years in a row, and then you try to mix it up with the side dishes and everything, and I forgot that my daughter really loved it. So that was kind of nice because I had totally forgotten that I used to make that. But what was really interesting was you asked us to put our hands out and for them to place like a box or something in our hands, like a present. But what was happening was I was getting different boxes of presents for different family members. So it was like each little box had something different in it. So I had like one for my other daughter that's here in physical, one for my husband, one for myself, one for my parents each, and then my mother-in-law. So that was kind of nice. Like it was just coming in like really quickly too.
I love that.
So that was like really nice. I didn't expect that at all. So the presents were kind of funny. One was like, my husband likes Star Wars, and it was like this little, I don't know if you know what a minifig is. Like it's like a little Lego kind of guy of Darth Vader. And for my daughter, it was a ring. And for me, it was a pink ring, which is funny because I don't really wear that much jewelry. Like I had the same staple, like my wedding rings and stuff. So I thought that was kind of funny that she wanted me to have like a pink, like a ring with like a pink stone on it. And
I
then,
love that, Rhonda.
Okay, I gotta share something. I have to share
like
something real quick. So
Sure.
Rachel, explain this to them because I don't know how to articulate it. So today, Rhonda, I had to go out thrift store shopping because I needed some pants, right? Because I've gained some weight and I need some pants. So I'm not kidding you. And I'm not a Star Wars person. So I didn't know what these things were. Every single store we went to, I found, because I like yoga pants, leggings. I'm like, what are these yoga pants I keep finding with these weird designs on them? And so Tom comes up and he's like, oh, that's Star Wars. It happened at like, there were like several, I saw all kinds of Star Wars stuff. Then I came home and I was like, oh, I have about 10 minutes to get a quick, snippet of my show I'm watching. And the main thing on that show was a ring with a pink stone in it.
Yeah.
Funny.
Yeah. So we all basically have this intention. The energy was already set in motion for us to all gather here tonight. So our kids knew that. So what they're going to do is get you to notice those things at the right time that give you that synchronistic validation that they're all around, right? but especially because it's planned in advance, we're all coming together, they can really work with that and with each other. And I want to say to Rhonda, not just to you, Rhonda, but to everybody here, I want to hear this. So 2 things when you share that, I love that. By the way, I have been guided to do the present, but first time I've ever been guided to do, give a present to my sister. Like that had never happened before. So I was like, oh, okay, they want to give presents to others. So no doubt that was your daughter. But here's 2 things I want you guys to keep in mind. So the Star Wars figurine, the present for your daughter, the ring, to like tell your husband, tell your daughter. And I bet he'll say, oh my gosh, I just thought about the time, like I was just thinking about the time we saw the Star Wars movie the other day. That's validation for other people in your family, right? That they're giving you, and validation for you having that experience because it was random and you hadn't been thinking about it. So you know it was directly from your daughter. Another thing is pay attention to, and it could be with the gifts too, especially like the for your daughter and your ring, like you might come across this at a store, or you might see this to give this to them in a way that you're not expecting. So one or both of those things that's why they're doing that.
Well,
Or
and
that's what the ripple effect of that. Okay.
It's also funny, Rachel, because one of the things that we will do come December is we will do the pop of thought telepathy to see what their kids want to do for, like, if they want somebody to have a gift, that's an activity that we'll be doing in December. What we also do in December here is we do a gift exchange from the kids in spirit. So say Angie got me and I got Angie would invite Leaf in to help find a gift for me, and I would invite Turk in to help find a gift for her. And then we do a Secret Santa gift exchange that way in this program. So I love that they actually told you to start looking, like giving the gifts, because that's actually something we do.
Yeah, see, I love that. And Nikki, you may already do this, and it's just a suggestion, but pair people up with people they don't know.
I do.
We're validating that way, and you're not getting it from the mom's consciousness, you're getting it from the child. You're more easily able to get it from not necessarily a stranger, but somebody you don't know as well.
Yeah, that's what we do for the gift exchange.
Perfect.
So when you were talking about the gift exchange and the meditation, I was like, oh yeah, they're already on it. So,
yeah.
yeah.
And you know what? And I don't know if the lady was, Brenda, and if you guys ever come to meditation and something, you learn a lot about your own energy too. It's not uncommon, even in classes, even in mediumship development groups. Somebody's like, oh, I'm so tired. And I'm not surprised if they don't get anything when another time they might. Sometimes you just need that rest, and trust that even being in the presence of spirit, your soul may be getting recharged. You may be getting rest, invigoration, healing that you need. That you guys, when I'm like, when I have, like, I'm losing sleep or something going on, I will literally ask my angels to infuse me with energy, and it will be like the next day, like I got a full day of sleep. They don't want us to do it all the time. It won't work all the time, but this is a healing meditation of sorts. Think of it that way, Brenda. Okay. That your soul is being recharged, that you're getting the rest and the healing that you need, and that it's exactly what you need. So even when nothing happens, or even when emotions come up and you cry, that is exactly what you need in that moment. Don't feel like I got to try, or I got to wait, or I got to get to a certain point. No, you got exactly what you needed out of it. Okay. So hope I wasn't too passionate about that.
Anybody else want to share? No.
Yeah, your physical body, like we're in these physical vessels, and we get tired, and sometimes what they know we need is the rest. Yeah. I'll shut up and let anybody else share. Somebody, I don't know her name, Nikki, down on my screen, she's on the bottom row wanting to share.
Does she have a name?
iPhone.
That's Darlene. Hi, Darlene.
Darlene, are you Darlene Slagle?
Oh, hold on, sister. You got to unmute. Touch your screen and where the microphone is. Do you see it?
Oh, I can press ask to unmute, Nikki. Maybe she needs that, although it's not letting me, so she probably just needs to on her end.
Can you unmute on your end? There you go.
I think I just did. Okay.
Yeah.
You just did.
I was just thinking, when you talked about music, Justin was a jazz piano player, and the year before he transitioned, or passed away or reemerged, as Abraham might say. He sent me because we were in Texas and he was in Chicago, he played a video of "I'll Be Home for Christmas" on his red Nord keyboard that he takes to all the bands and stuff. And it's really special to me because I never saw him at Christmas again after that. So anyway.
Oh,
Good.
so that's something like he wants you to play then, Mom, like throughout the season, right? And I'm sure when you play that music, you'll feel like that him connected to you in a stronger way.
Okay, I'm up for that.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
And I saw my other two guys watching football.
Well, I had a sense when I saw the group of men in the living room when I was in with Leaf. I felt like your guys were there. I felt like Kathy's guy was there. And then I know Rodney was in with the older men. There was a whole gaggle of them over yonder in that room. So I got the sense that your guys were there. So
Yeah. But when the
Yeah.
football comes on, the turkey is over for them anyway.
Yeah.
But of course they won't play forever the rest of the night.
I love that.
Yeah. Are you wanting to share, sis?
Sure.
Go for it.
So during the meditation, Rachel, you were just about to say that everyone would go into pick out names for Christmas, and 2 seconds before that thought was in my head for one of the things that they love to do on Christmas. It was just really neat how you said it right after it. I mean, it was barely out of my thought or his thought into your words.
Yeah. I love that, Kim. Now, you know what? The cool thing about that is I actually saw that, like the little strips of paper, and that's how they got me to know what it was. I saw it actually a little bit before that. And then it was like, no, wait, first we're going to go maybe outside to play football or do something else. And then it came back. So I love that. So it came back at just the right time for you.
Yep.
Yeah. That's so cool. Thanks for sharing.
And does anybody else want to share? Y'all are awfully quiet this evening. What is going on? Okay. Well, if nobody else wants to share, Rachel has to run to teach line dancing. She squeezed us in. So we're going to thank Rachel, and then we'll stay on for some housekeeping. Just to tie a few loose ends up, and then we'll pop off too. So Rachel, thank you so much for coming in. I can't wait to have you back on the 17th so we
Oh my
can
gosh. Well, I know our
powwow
kids
with
are
all
excited
the
about.
yeah.
Aw. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Rachel.
Thank you guys for sharing your kids with me. This was such a beautiful, fun, just night and filled with so much. So thank you. And yeah, we will look forward to the 17th. I know they're excited. I'm excited too.
Yeah, awesome. You and I need to get on for a coffee call soon. So we'll have to
I
plan
know
that
it's been too
too.
long, Nikki.
I know.
Yeah, for sure. Okay.
All right, sis. Have fun dancing, and I will
Thank
talk
you.
to you soon.
Thank you. You guys have a great night.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay, guys. So I just want to touch base with you guys real quick. Again, I want to emphasize, do not feel bad if you didn't get a lot, if you couldn't get focused enough. It took me a lot of practice. And do you remember, I know a lot of you have heard Kathy Elliott say it before, like, her and Sophie don't meditate with each other. Like, that is not a way that they rendezvous together. And it was a point of contention for Kathy for a very long time. Like, it made her think she couldn't connect because lots of people were connecting that way. It may not be the way your child wants to connect with you or your person. So don't discount that you are doing something wrong or that they didn't want to rendezvous with you in that way. Sophie point blank has told Kathy, now get over it. That's not how I'm going to connect with you. And so Kathy just doesn't even attempt to do it that way anymore, which is funny because tonight in mine, Sophie was very predominant within mine tonight. So like she was front and center as much as Leaf was, which is that's kind of odd. I will tell you that's odd. Generally, that doesn't happen for me. But don't feel bad if you weren't able, I call it get in, right? Because sometimes when I try to meditate or do a guided visualization, sometimes even during the day when I'm trying to call my power back, like we do at the end of things, or my morning visualizations to surround and protect, sometimes I can't get in all the way, right? Because my brain's going, oh, a squirrel. Oh, I'll get the vision of the light and then I'm like, and the grocery list. So don't feel bad if that happens to you guys. It happens to every single person. And it is something that does take practice, just like visualization takes practice. I used to, as a kid, be able to visualize very, very easily. When I first started connecting with Leaf, I had to practice visualization, like practice tools, because I just couldn't get it in, going. So do any of you have problems with the visualization piece? Like when we're calling power back or cutting cords or any of that at the end of class, do any of you have problems with that? If you do, let me know and I can put up some, and Rita, I haven't forgotten about putting your stuff up. I was not well yesterday and I was out and about all day today. So I'm going to get the cellular memory stuff up tomorrow for you, just so you know I didn't forget. But if you guys,
I forgot. I was thinking, what stuff? Yeah.
So if you guys need visualization, like tips for visualization practice, I can write those out and post them in the group too. And even still, sometimes I will just do some practice visualization. Just because it's like when you don't use it, you kind of lose it. So I have to keep that a little bit sharper so that I can get in like I got in tonight. And I haven't guided meditation with Leaf in, I feel shame, in over a year. So, I was really surprised that I popped in so quick. And for me, it's like I'm watching a movie, right? And I'm just writing it out at the same time on my phone. But it's kind of like I trance out and that's how it happens for me. That's not how it started though. Okay. So I can do that, Sharon. Absolutely. Just don't beat yourself up if you didn't get in. Brenda, and for you, like you and Dakota automatic write so much together that he might be like, I'll just write it out with my mom. So, but like Rachel was saying, it's still a good time to sit in your center and in your power and just do the breath work and kind of get your body, your energetic body moving. So, did any of you have trouble getting in? I know it sounds weird saying getting in, but like getting into the meditation, like letting it take you where they needed to take you. Did you do okay with it? Okay. If you didn't, there's absolutely nothing wrong with you. Okay. I will also be posting. How many of you do guided meditation to meet your people frequently? Rhonda? Okay. Okay, I will post, so I need to post cellular memory stuff, visualization tips, and I'm going to post just a plain and simple guided meditation to meet your deceased loved one. I'll post one of those. So for those of you that want to practice this way of communicating with your kiddos or your spouses or your grandparents or your friends, Brenda, never too early to start. Then you can start honing this practice, okay? I want to get some of the tools in front of you. I know a lot of you, those of you that have worked with me before, worked with me privately, you probably already have these tools, but we're going to we're going to up the ante and refresh, right? Never hurts to back to basics. So I'll post one of those. Does anybody have any questions or comments before we do our closeout? Yeah, Sharon, go for it.
when Rachel started, she talked about creating space and seeing yourself outside of your body.
Mhm.
And that made sense for a minute, but then it got confusing to me because then it was, I couldn't tell if I was outside of my body or inside of my body when we started to like feel things coming through.
Okay. And you may have been, you may have been a little bit of both. Like for me, when I'm in it, like I will be able to see myself moving around, kind of like I saw Caroline there and moving around. That's because our spirit can leave our bodies and interact in that space. But like it's kind of like switching movie perspectives or like written word perspectives, only for me it's visual. So I'll see myself and then I may pop back in body and be able to feel like I popped when I was in, I popped out of my body and I saw Leaf embracing me. And then it's like I popped back in my body and I can feel it. Does that make sense? Is that kind of what you felt?
I think I felt a little confusion.
Okay. So, and here's the thing, guys. While you're in that space, let it mean whatever it looks like. Don't let your monkey mind in to go like, what the hell does that mean? What's she talking about? Just be like, okay, whatever, and see if it will happen organically. Okay. Because that's not something that happened for me by me going, what is that talking about? Like, as I practiced more, I now understand what she's meaning when she says that. But when I first started, I would have been like, okay, I'm ignoring that because I don't know what that means because I hadn't experienced it yet. You know what I mean? So try not to get hung up on that. But what you'll find, especially as you practice, I think that will happen organically for you. So you know how at the end of class, when we're doing the call our power back, and I say, now I want you to step outside your body and look at it glowing. Are you able to do that
Yeah. I
Okay.
guess I just kind of flip back and forth and then I'm thinking like, where am I supposed to be?
You're supposed to be wherever your old spirit wants you to be. If it wants you to be inside your house flesh, that's where you're going to be. If it wants to pop out, then that's where it'll be. So let it guide it, let your own inner spirit guide it. And then, but you can also guide it as well. Like when we do the close and I tell you to step outside your body, you're very easily able to make that switch because your spirit goes boop and it's looking at you, right? Yep. It's looking at your body and then it goes boop and it jumps back in. Okay. So let it do whatever. You can guide it, but if you're in that space and you want it to guide itself, you want you to guide yourself, just let it.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah. There's no right or wrong. And it can be very confusing at first because you're like, what? I mean, at first it was like, for me, it felt like camera 1, camera 2, camera 1, camera 2. And it was like, but now that I'm more familiar with that space, it is very organic. It happens very naturally. And it's easy for me to pop. I mean, I can pop out of my body, walking down the street, quite honestly, and not realize it. So that's why I have a tendency to ground a lot. But when you become more aware of it, you can do it more intentionally or more naturally when you're in this guided meditation space or a meditation space. Yeah, good question.
I wanted to ask something.
Yeah, Ange.
I felt like I was forcing myself to see what I wanted to see, if that makes sense.
That's your ego. So tell me what that means. Like, tell me what that looks like. So was one part of your brain saying, I want to see Turk baking a pie? And then this part was like, okay, that's what we'll see. Was there actual conscious thought of what you were wanting to see?
I mean, I wasn't thinking that. I was.
There's your key right there. If you're not consciously conjuring up the thought to think a certain thought when you're in meditation, that is how you know spirit's coming in. Okay. Does that make sense? Give me an example. Can you give me an example of what it looked like?
Yeah, when she said you see your loved ones, and I saw them, and then she said, maybe your other loved ones, and I was like, oh, my meme and my pap and my mom, and
That's
I
okay.
I just thought they're just there because that's what I want to see.
Well, here's the thing though, Angie. So with spirit, you have to remember a simple thought of you thinking about them is what can bring them in. That can often actually signify that they're already there. Okay. So they could have, here's the thing about this is where it gets tricky, right? They could have already have prompted her to say that because they were already on standby. They could have prompted you to see them, like, because when she said that, for me, nope, there, I didn't see my people. I didn't see the rest of my people there. I have friends in spirit, I have grandparents in spirit, I have animals in spirit. I didn't see any of them there. Okay. So when you're in that space, sometimes the facilitator can prompt that. It doesn't mean that that's you making it up. You know what the single worst word to me in the history of humankind is? The word imagination. Okay. Because imagination is actually the opening of the third eye into different realms, into different universes, into different timelines, into the creative energetic field. And we as humans have dumbed it down to that was just your imagination. So it's kind of like you're the little kid who has an imaginary friend. Most of the time, they're not imagining the friend, they're seeing spirit. So things that come up in your imagination, or your brain is telling you it's your imagination, that is actually the space where we get into to rendezvous, because that's where spirit can come in very, very easily and more purely. That's why you see artists and they talk about having these huge spiritual experiences, because they are in the creative energetic field of what we call imagination. It's third eye being open, and that spiritual energy is able to come in through you. Sharon, you know what I'm talking about because you do intuitive art, right? So does that make sense, Ange?
Mm-hmm.
So and here's another way to tell it. So when you say to yourself, well, Rachel said it, so I'm imagining it, does that feel peaceful?
I didn't feel bad. I mean,
It doesn't feel joyful though, right? Because it's trying to invalidate the experience you're having. So if it's not bringing you peace, joy, exuberance, that means it's coming from your ego, right? So when you say, oh, I saw my parents there and my grandparents there and Turk was there, does that feel joyful?
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so joy, peace, all higher vibration equals what? Truth and connection. That's how you determine it, guys. Okay. Because your ego is always going to tell you, Angie, you just made that up. Especially with guided meditation, right? Because we've been programmed to believe that imagination is just us making it up, right? Does that make sense? Does that help answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay.
For the record, that's kind of the way I always see it too. I do the same thing. It's just, like she said, other people in your family. And I thought, oh, who else might be here? And then I thought about my mom, but I wonder, is it really my mom, or is it just because she said other people, and made me think, oh, who else, so.
I also had a white,
Never
I
seen
also
it.
had a white Shih Tzu that passed away like 2 years after Turk. And, when she said the white dog, I mean, I was like, oh, there's my dog.
Well, and
And
that's
I'm
the
like,
thing.
is that, am I
That
just,
could have
seeing-
been.
is that,
Mhm.
am I just seeing that because she said there's the dog?
Didn't she actually say Shih Tzu later?
Yeah.
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 Well, and they can piggyback too, right? So it could very well be Robin's girl's dog and your dog, because they will piggyback off each other. So here's the thing with guided meditation, guys. Like, when I first started doing it, I felt the same way. I did it regularly for almost 3 years though. And at some point, it stops feeling that way, because then things that you're seeing start getting validated externally. Okay. It is no coincidence to me, because there are no coincidences, that literally a theme in my day was a pink ring, a pink stone ring, and Star Wars attire, and then Rhonda shares something that she got in her guided visualization. Like, you cannot make that up. So Rhonda can say, oh, I made that up in my imagination, but here I am in real time saying, like, these two things were in my day today, and it was abnormal enough for me to be like, okay, Star Wars clothes, that's weird to me, but whatever, I'm not buying them because I don't even know what Star Wars is. But then tonight, 2 hours later, we're having this conversation. So Rhonda, knowing what I had during my day today, do you think your imagination made that up? No. So a lot of times, as you move forward with this, what you're going to start to see is that it will validate, you'll get external validation. Okay. I can tell, like, Angie, I get it, because I did a guided meditation once. I don't even remember who was facilitating it. And guys, I believe in infinite possibility. So I'm sure there are a lot of stuff out there that I don't even tap into. And quite frankly, I don't want to, because, like, I do talk to dead people, and that has been enough of a mind-blowing thing for me. I don't need to know about the aliens. I don't need to know about the fairies. Like, I don't need to know about the rest of this. Like, I'll save that for a different lifetime. But I did this guided meditation with Leaf one day, and somehow, like, it took on this whole, like, fairy, like, I had been a fairy in a past life, or I had fairy blood. And I was like, what in the hell? After I came out, I'm like, I don't know where that came from, because, like, I don't even dabble in that stuff. So, like, I saw this white bedroom, and I saw me as a fairy, like, laying on this white bed. I knew what she looked like, what I apparently looked like. And so I came out of that guided meditation. I was like, well, that was a bunch of damn gibberish. Never in my, like, what the hell was that? Right? That was nonsense. And so Tom and I end up going down to, like, a market that day, and I'll be damned if I didn't see a statue of that same exact fairy, a place we'd never been, a little tiny corner booth stuck in the very back. And I just happened to meander my way back through the maze back to this place. And I was like, holy shit, like, that is literally, like, is that a statue of me? Like, was that me? And then so I'm thinking, damn, I have lost my mind. I'm about fairies. And so I absolutely thought I had made that up in my imagination. And Leaf was like, oh yeah, watch this. And so it literally within 2 hours validated. And have I revisited that? No, because, like I said, I just don't need to dabble in the whole fairy and all that business in this lifetime. I got enough on my plate. But I do remember that, and I don't discount it now. I'm like, yeah, okay, I got some fairy blood running through me. I think they're sassy. I'm pretty sassy. That tracks. So so as you do it more, you'll see more validations come through. Okay, so don't overthink it, and just give gratitude for the experience you did have. And you also know how you have telepathy, so ask your other people. You can tap in and ask them, was that you? They'll give you a yes or no real quick, right? Yeah.
Where do you get the guided meditations? Like, type it in on YouTube or something?
I use the Google. So on the Google, I type in guided meditation with dead people.
Okay.
On YouTube. Literally, that's what I did when I was learning. I've done them with several people now, obviously, but that's where I started at the very get-go. And the one that I'm going to post is one that I found from, I call it the Google. Yes, that is what I call it. But I found it from the Google, the all-knowing Google. So yeah, and a lot of them are real short, just short snippets. A lot of them are long snippets. And the more you practice with it, the more at ease you're going to feel with it. You don't have to sit, guys. You know, I know in the spiritual community, they're all like, everybody's like, oh, meditation, meditation. I will tell you, I hate meditation. I hate it. It's boring. You know, my monkey brain is, I'm not going to sit down and go pose and meditate. I can't do it. I am not that type of spiritualist. You know, I just can't. It's not how I'm made. I can do very short visualization meditations. Those are my favorite, because I can't stay in for a super long time. And that's probably why Leaf popped me in and I popped in so quick before she even went through it. I mean, I was in and out. And then while you guys finished, I was on my phone working, right? While you guys finished, because I was like, okay, well, that's all she wrote for me tonight. So if you pop in and then you pop out, don't get mad if you can't stay with it the whole time. It takes practice. Robin, it takes practice. It's not something you can pick up and just be like, oh, okay, I got this. It may start with 1 minute at a time. I mean, even tonight, I probably got all of what I got, and it was like 4 paragraphs long, because I'm typing it as it's coming out and as I'm seeing it. And that probably happened probably in less than 5 minutes for the whole however long you guys were down in meditation with her. So yeah, it's lots of practice. Go ahead.
I have a question about back to the leaving your body part of it.
Yeah.
So as y'all know, I'm still in the shock part of my grief. It's still so recent that I'm still, and in the last 10 days, through my therapist and me realizing I've been dissociating. Is it dangerous for me to try to make myself do that when I'm already in a mental state where my brain is trying to?
No, I will tell you, Robin, I have naturally disassociated since I was a kid. I've lost time since I was a kid. I still lose time sometimes.
And that's what I'm doing.
Disassociation, right. So a therapist is going to explain it different than I explain it, quite honestly. For me, what helps with disassociation, and my disassociation didn't come from leaving body. Mine came from childhood trauma and protective mechanisms and shadow stuff and all of that. So what I found out after Leaf passed was if I started a daily and sometimes 1,000 times a day grounding technique for myself, it helps me not disassociate. And I practice leaning into being present in my body. And that also has taken practice for me, because it's not just about learning to do it with your energy. It's about learning to retrain your brain to start moving through the rewirement to stay in your body and not be up poofed out. What I look at disassociation is your spirit is poof, it's floating around up here, you know, doing whatever it's doing, and your body's moving through things rotely, right? I mean, I still have to do it.
I've had it that way twice in my life. And I'm sorry, I'm just gonna be blunt. When I was raped at 17, I physically left my body and watched it. I could tell the detectives what was on his back. And then when I nearly died in the hospital about 12 years ago, I can't, but this is not, it's not me leaving my body. I'm literally fighting time.
Yeah, those are out of body experiences. So that's going to be different than disassociation.
Okay.
That is your spirit literally physically leaving your body and you watching what's happening to your body. Right. Disassociation is different from that. You're not going to be that aware that it's even happening. Okay.
And that's what's happening right now. I'm losing time. Like I'm literally so hyper focused looking at the calendar. I'm like, there's no way. It has only been, a week since I've been here. I've been here 2 weeks. I know it. And I'm looking at the calendar I'm like, the calendar's wrong. I'm like,
you know what? I wouldn't lean too far into that if I were you. Don't overthink that. It's a very natural mechanism that happens for protection through trauma. Linear time no longer makes sense. Executive functioning moves from the front of the brain to the back of the brain when trauma happens, okay? There's literal physiologic changes that are going on when you are in a state of fight or flight and when cortisol rushes in and all the things happen. So what you want to do is you need to start, set a timer on your watch and make sure you ground, do a 5 senses ground every 20 minutes if you have to, because that's what's going to bring you back in your body. It's going to make you aware of where you're at. It's going to, and if you have to, Robin, you say, I will tell you, all day today, I thought it was Sunday. I'm 6 years out. I am not in fight or flight. I don't feel, I've worked on somatic healing with my trauma, but because disassociation is such a natural state for me, I have to make it a point to be in my body and be present and be aware. So all day today, you guys, I damn near could have missed this tonight. I will tell you, because I literally thought it was Sunday. Thought it was Sunday all day today. We had a Zoom on Sunday. I should have damn well known it wasn't Sunday. Like, what the hell, right? And so this afternoon, I'm like, oh my God, it's Tuesday, and so I will lose days, and it's nothing more like, I don't chalk it up to like, oh my God, I'm having caught. I don't make it a big deal, because I'm just like, you need to get present again, Nikki. So for the rest of this week, I will make it a point that I will do my grounding in the morning. I will 5 senses ground probably once or twice an hour, which is where you do 5 things you see. I see Angie in front of me. I see yellow flowers in front of me. I see a white refrigerator in front of me. I see a cardboard box in front of me. And I see my black glass in front of me. 5 things you see, 4 things that you feel physically, not emotionally, physically. So I feel this earbud in my ear. I feel the hair on the back of my neck. I feel the seat cushion under my butt. Like 4 things you physically feel with your physical body, because that's what draws you back into your physical body. 3 things that you hear. I hear my ice machine going off. I hear the whiz of the refrigerator, and I hear an echo from my really cheap earbuds. 2 things that you smell, and 1 thing that you taste. And if you have to do that once an hour, twice an hour, and you can even add on to it, what is today? Today is, it's Tuesday. Today is Tuesday, the 22nd. If you have to add those things on to stay in your body and stay present, then that's what you do, because you have to retrain your body how to function normally, physiologically, after trauma. Okay, so that's going to be up to you, and there are tools that you can use to utilize it to come back to you, and it's going to be something that you're going to have to practice.
I do that
Okay.
with the students all day that have anxiety. Like some of these kids that I work with have anxiety. They'll come in and they can't breathe. And I'm like,
Mhm.
Mom, we got to stop, focus, breathe.
Yeah.
We breathe. And I'm like, belly breathe, because that gets that oxygen into
Mhm.
your blood and in your brain, and it helps you to calm down. And then we're like, ground, we got to ground. So I do
Exactly.
it with them, so
Yeah. And
helping me.
it's such a huge tool, and it's so good for, anxiety. Oh my gosh, it's so great for anxiety.
Yes.
When I had grief waves come, great for that. Rita, great for cellular memory too, because guess what? When you're keenly present and aware, right, in the moment, your body then says, oh, I'm safe right here. I'm
Yeah.
safe right here in this timeline, right? 5 senses grounding, earthing, bare feet, visualization, tree grounding, huge tool, you guys. Huge tool for so many aspects of this journey. And right now, Rita, because you are having a lot of anxiety because your body's
Yeah.
trying to kick into fight or
Well, I
flight.
have trouble breathing. And when she just said that about breathing, and I was thinking, really, that's part of it too, because I just thought it's because I gotten fatter.
No, and you know what?
I can't breathe half the time,
One of the things is about breathing is, if you guys find that you're shallow breathers, one of the things that I've had to start doing is be very mindful of my breathing, because if you're a shallow breather and you don't exhale enough and you don't breathe deeply enough, carbon monoxide will build up in your bloodstream, right? And it has a myriad of other symptoms. So I have actually started incorporating into my daily being present work. About once every hour at least, I will do a big down, full breath
Mhm.
down into my belly. And it's difficult for me because I'm a very shallow breather, and I'm also a breath holder, and I don't realize it, right? I literally tattooed the word breathe on my arm in year 1 because I was like, damn, I keep forgetting to breathe, So if you'll breathe in and then breathe in through the nose and exhale out through the mouth longer than what you inhale through the nose, you're getting that carbon monoxide out, dioxide, monoxide. It's one of those bad ones, out of your system. And it's actually helping me a lot.
We
Sounds
use the
good.
4-4-4 where I just say 4-4-4 and they know. They breathe in for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds. They breathe out for 4 seconds.
Okay.
I usually do like a 6 and an 8, a 6 in through my nose and I hold it, and then an 8 out. But I'm doing it to literally like generate oxygen and deeper breathing for my old crappy lungs that I put through hell when I was younger. So, but yeah, so
Inhale.
grounding is great. I'll post the 5 senses grounding. Robin, start doing it. Start setting an alarm on your phone, something. If you want to beat disassociation, that is the best way to do it. 5 senses grounding,
Okay.
and then repeat what the day is, what the date is, what the time is. Okay. Because it's all of that has to do with awareness. So we get a choice, guys. Oh my gosh, I'm disassociating, losing time. And that becomes the story. Or, oh, here's the tool I can use because I'm disassociating and losing time. Disassociating, losing time is normal. It's a normal human thing. Everybody here has been through trauma beyond the trauma that you're here for. I guarantee it. Everybody has. I have. I mean, we come here to learn through contrast, right? So it is a tool that I wish was utilized more in traditional therapy. Thank God for social workers and school counselors like Angie that are teaching the youth how to have these tools to use that should have been taught. So yeah, good question, girl. Does anybody else have anything? Has anybody practiced calling their power back this week when we weren't in session? Yay, Becky. Becky learned early on, first class. She hit the ground running, and man, she has her routine down. And that's what it takes, guys. Consistent work, consistent tools. Use it consistently. I did not wake up without grounding, surrounding, protecting, calling leaf in for probably 4 years. And I'm not a highly like organized or committed person, but it did so much good for me that I literally for 4 years every morning I did nothing until that was done. Nothing. If you haven't been getting involved in the gratitudes and affirmations, do it. Robin, that will also help your disassociation. I don't care if you say I'm grateful that I can turn the electricity on in my lamp beside my bed so I don't have to lay in the dark and cry. That is gratitude. That will also help you guys be present. It will help raise your vibration. It will help you focus on the found. All of those things are huge. So if you're not participating in that in the thread, when Crystal does that, I highly recommend that you do. I try to most days. Some days I do it verbally though. So, because I work a lot behind the scenes of stuff. I work a lot. So in the car, in the shower, wherever you can get them in, get them in. Okay. If you're not participating in the threads, get in there and do it, ladies. The more you participate, the more healing you get. Okay. Anybody else? No. Okay. So we have Thanksgiving on Thursday. How are we feeling about it? Rita says, hell no. You've got milestone dates too that you're dealing with in cellular memory. And you know what? If you're not celebrating it, that's absolutely okay. My hope for you is as we move through your healing, Rita, that in a year, another 2 years, maybe you'll be able to. It's okay.
Yeah.
You know, we'll
I'm
see.
I'm actually going to my daughter-in-law's family celebration, so I'm
Oh,
kind of
good.
dreading that too. I
That's,
mean,
then you're not just crawling in the bed and covering up your head with the covers. So
right.
you may
right.
not be celebrating it, but look at it this way. It's a day, it's a day that you can join in with your kiddo to be able to come together in the gratitude, right?
Yes.
Be grateful
And
for
I get to
stuff.
see my grandson. That's
And
the
you get
best.
Awesome.
There you go. Perfect.
I'll do anything to see my grandson.
I
So,
want you guys to remember, and I want your mantra for that day to be, if I focus on their absence, I cannot find them in their presence. If you are solely focused on the fact that they are not physically here, then whatever communications, whatever signs they send you, they're going to pass you by, guys, because it closes down your awareness. How many of you are going to try to stand in your awareness of your people on Thursday? Okay. Do you know what that means when I say it?
not really.
Okay.
Nope.
So what that means is retraining your brain to when it tells you this holiday sucks because my people are dead. For those, I mean, everybody here has gotten some form of communication one way or another.
Mhm.
It is up to you to remind yourself that if they were dead, they couldn't communicate with you.
Mhm.
Invisible with superpowers, guys. They're
Mhm.
not dead, they're different. They're invisible with superpowers. Okay. Is anybody doing anything special to honor their people in spirit? Anybody setting places for them? Christine, you are? Okay, good. I'm going to do a thread about that. So Christine, if you're doing it, will you please comment and let us know what you're doing? I don't know if you guys saw the 4 candles poem that I posted. If that resonates with you, feel free to use it. There is a traditional one that I no longer post because boy, howdy. And I used it in year 1 because it is it's a gut wrencher. I tell you, it's a gut wrencher. But if that's where you're at, that's okay. So do what makes you comfortable. Know that it is okay to say no. Rita, if you go to the in-laws houses or wherever and you're like, I'm done, it's time for me to go. It's okay to say no and excuse yourselves, guys. You have a bandwidth right now that is much smaller than what your normal bandwidth is. And it's okay to show yourself grace and extend grace to yourself and say, you know what, I made an appearance. I'm ready to go home. Or to say, I'm not going at all. That is okay too. All right. So I'm not going to tell you guys to have a happy Thanksgiving. I hope that you do at least have moments of happiness. And I want you, if you have moments of happiness, to acknowledge them. That's an important thing. Oh my God, that dog is cute. To acknowledge those happy moments, acknowledge when you're laughing, acknowledge that that is what's bringing your people in even closer. Lynn, I love you. Stay warm up there. But acknowledge it, okay? That's how you bring them in, guys. You're focusing on your joy because they feel your joy. All right. Okay, with that, let's do our closing real quick. If you need me on Thursday, post in the group. I will have my phone on me. Kate will be here, so she and I'll tag team if we need to, but I will be available. Okay. If you're down in it and you're having a wave, get in the group, let me know. All right. And I'll put out some shifts right then and there. You do not have to walk through this alone. All right. This is my busy time with you guys. I make myself available. I'll do it on Christmas Eve. I'll do it on Christmas. I'll do it on New Year's Eve. I'll do it on New Year's Day. I will have my phone on me. If you guys post in the group, I will make sure to check it. Okay. And if I don't and you need me right then, shoot me a PM. All right. Okay. Don't forget your gratitudes and affirmations. All right. Okay. That being said, everybody gives a nice, good, deep breath. Stretch your neck, get comfortable. Close your eyes. Becky, I need somebody to repeat after me that I can hear. Will you turn your mic on and let me hear you speak it?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Because I don't know the cadence or the rhythm to use unless I have at least one person that I can hear.
As long as if I trip up, no one makes fun of me, I'm fine with it.
We won't make fun of you. Spirit doesn't care, so neither do we. All right, guys, take a nice big deep breath in. Exhale. Close your eyes. I want you to visualize, see what this looks like. And just so you know, when I cut cords, what I see is like in my mind's eye, in my quote unquote imagination, is I see a big, huge sword because Archangel Michael carries a sword, and I see that sword outlining my body. And as it outlines my body, I see black strings being cut by that super sharp sword, and they fall away. When I do the surround and protect piece, what I see in my imagination is literally the archangel standing over me, and Leaf is there with them. He's not an archangel, just so you know, but he's standing there, and they have big buckets. You know, the olden days, the buckets they carried the water in, like the tin buckets. That's what they have. It's weird, but they're pouring literal tin buckets of golden light over me, and it showers around me and just and it envelops me. So it looks different a lot of times, but that seems to be the basic foundation. So just know when we're doing this first part, I think you guys are pretty good at the visualization of calling your power back, because I kind of guide through that step by step, and the vision is easier to get when I'm guiding through it. But we don't guide through this first part. So tell spirit to give you the vision of whatever that's going to look like for you. If you don't get it yet, that's okay too, because just you speaking the words sets momentum, energetic momentum behind the intention. Okay. So on that note, take another deep breath. Sorry. Close your eyes and repeat after me. Archangel Michael.
Archangel Michael.
Archangel Azrael.
Archangel Azrael.
Please come down.
Please come down.
Cut all energetic cords.
Cut all energetic cords.
That feed me negativity.
That feed me negativity.
That feed my ego self.
That feeds my ego self.
That are no longer for my highest good.
That are no longer for my highest good.
Please surround and protect me.
Please surround and protect me.
In divine white light to protect my energy.
In divine white light, protect my energy.
Thank you, and so it is.
Thank you, and so it is.
All right, move those hands around. Get your energy flowing. Spirit claps. Spirit hands. This gets the energy moving through your body, you guys. I never knew why they called these spirit hands. Now I actually literally know why. I find that exciting. I always thought it was a cheerleader thing. It's not, it's a spirit thing. All right, palms up, eyes closed. Deep breath in. Nice long exhale. And I want you to assertively say, I call all of my power back to me now.
I call all of my power back to me now.
With this, you see beams of light coming into the palms of your hands from one another, from all over the world. If you've been online, from anybody you've encountered today, family, coworkers, friends, grocery store clerks, mailmen, whoever it is, I want you to visualize, imagine beams of white light coming in from every single entity you've had contact with today. They come in and they settle into the palms of your hands. You may feel the palms of your hands start to tingle or get warm. As those beams of light hit the palms of your hands, they turn to liquid light. Take note of the color as that liquid light starts filling your body cavity, first starting with your wrists, and it seeps down and fills your arm, down through the elbow. It moves up. You may feel the warmth as it moves up through your upper arms and into your shoulders. Moving up through your neck. Any tension and dis-ease is released as it fills your head space. It may open and balance chakras, opens the third eye. Take note of the color again as it moves down through the neck and into the chest space. Opens the heart as it slowly moves down and fills the upper abdomen, the rib area, the lower abdomen through the belly button area, spreading down through the hips and the buttocks. It moves slowly down into the upper thighs, to the knees, down through the lower legs into the calves. It slowly spreads to the ankles and the heel of your feet, through both feet and the tip of every single solitary toe. I want you to step out of your body, take a look at it, and see it glowing with your divine, infinitely connected power. Take note of the color. Feel the sensations in your body. Deep breaths. And then say thank you, and so it is.
Thank you, and so it is.
All right, ladies, you all know where to find me if you need me. I will be posting some things tomorrow to help. And other than that, have Thanksgiving with your people in spirit. Okay? All right. Sleep with angels.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Good night.
Good night.